My name's Frank. I'm an alcoholic, but I'm also more than just an alcoholic. Before I get into my story, I'm going to give a little statistics that are not 100% accurate, but just to give you guys kind of like a ballpark on what everything is going on between first responder mental health and just addiction in general. You know, first responder or not, civilian. So in 2019, there was 228 police suicides. This year, we're up to 120. Still a lot, unfortunately, lower. We're on track for a lower pace in 2019. About 20% of everyday people's civilian life suffer from a type of PTSD, anxiety, depression, and this increases to 30% for first responders. About 69% of EMS workers never have the time to truly, process on what's going on from traumatic calls, and it really, 69% is, going from call to call to call. Doesn't even give you a lot of time to realize kind of what's going on and look down at your feet and see really where you're at and hold that in. 1 in 4 police officers in their lifetime have thoughts of suicide. If you think about that, that's pretty hard to say, and more police officers die by their own hands than in the line of duty. So as I just gave you those statistics, Rest for Responders was developed and created to prevent suicide, but also to increase the emotional survivability skills of first responders so they can make better choices on the streets and off the streets. The average life of a police officer is 57 years old. You retire at 50, 52, 48. You enjoy 10 years of your life, that's it. So we're trying to increase that you put in 20, and I always say, we're not a robot. We have family calls too. We have family disputes too. We have car accidents, we're only human. As a police officer, there's only so much someone can take in. And as being a police officer, if you're struggling with alcohol, if you're struggling with any type of depression, you can't say, I need help. Because then you get your gun and shield taken away, and excuse my language, you're the BIT, There's kids here. But you're the wussy, So guys will hold it in. They'll drink, they'll cheat, they'll gamble, they'll do anything to try to cope and hide that feeling because you're a big bad police officer, Meanwhile, they're destroying their life, they're destroying their families, and they're destroying their career, but most importantly, their life. So it doesn't really make sense to me to go through all that just to, keep that gun and shield when everything else around you is burning, right? So at the end of the day, what really matters is your family, your friends, this type of community. Sometimes you have to quit, and not quit, but you have to surrender. And that's why I'm here today. I surrendered, and it made me a completely different person. And I wouldn't be here today if I didn't surrender.
Just picture this real quick. 1,200 feet in the air. You have a buddy of yours fall out. You jump out after him. Your chutes get tangled up. Your chute doesn't open correctly. You have to pull your reserve. Your reserve opens up backwards, so you're about 200 feet from the ground. Your chute finally catches air. You're about 85 miles per hour. You hit the ground. Don't remember anything. Wake up in the hospital. I had a left hip surgery, right quad, MPFL, kneecap repair, jaw surgery, septum repair, very bad TBI. 2 weeks ago, I found out that I'm losing vision on my left eye. This was back in 2017. December 2018, I got out of the military. Of course, I'm thinking in my head, I'm gonna give up in life. That's it. I got nothing else to give. The military got rid of me. Everybody was saying, after the military, I got nothing left. So, of course, I'm gonna believe that. My leadership's telling me that, right? So, after going to mental health, I went through a very bad mental crisis, of course, because I had a 4-year-old daughter. So I'm over here struggling with, I'm never going to be able to run with my daughter. I'm never going to be able to play with my daughter. I can't run, can't do much. The doctors were telling me you're never going to be able to walk or run without assistance, crutches or nothing like that. So in 2019, I actually found out that I was very good at bench pressing. So I was like, okay, so then I got something to look forward to. That sounds like fun. So I decided to just bench almost every day. And I met a lot of good people through powerlifting, through gyms. Literally like some of the best people I've ever met in my life, who basically motivated the hell out of me to come back and do something with myself. In November 23rd, 2019, in Buffalo, New York, I decided to do the New York State Championships. And I actually won Best Bencher in New York State, the New York State Championships, both first place. Something that I never thought I would do. Not only that, but one thing that kept coming up in my head was the doctor saying that I would never squat or deadlift again. Well, Mr. Angel in his head said, well, screw that guy. All he knows is a book. My head is a lot stronger than that. So I decided to squat and deadlift that day. In my second squat, in the video, you actually see my leg actually completely, my knee just completely came out of place. I finished the squat, gave up my third squat just because, you know, I was trying to play it smart. You're supposed to like get out of the, yeah, you're supposed to get out after the competition after that, but I told the referee, no, I'm good. I finished benching. Benching was really easy. I knew that I had benching because I could basically bench a lot of weight without my legs. I was fine. Through the deadlifts, for some reason, I was able to deadlift around 640 pounds. So again, I ended up winning that competition. Able to do everything the doctor said I couldn't do. I ended up sending the video to the doctor, and the doctor actually cried and said that he couldn't believe I did something like that.
Have you guys ever heard of the what came first, the chicken or the egg conundrum? Yeah, so research is now posing something like that when it concerns mental health and nutrition. So we have number one, was it the unhealthy amount of bacteria or inflammation that actually caused a mental health disorder? Is that what it is? Was it that we had a genetic predisposition, like something hereditary, and then that mood disorder caused the unhealthy bacteria and all that things? And I'm dumbing things down a lot, okay? Otherwise we'll be here too long. Or three, was it a traumatic emotional event that changed the chemistry in our brain, coincided with our gut, and now we are coping by using substances in order to get through life? Okay, so one of those three things a lot of research is looking at, and it's all three. It's not one. Whether you believe the egg or the chicken, you're right. Okay, so traditionally, mood disorders are from the top down. They're looked at as a biochemical reaction in the brain. You could literally see it on a scan. Some places are lighting up and some aren't. But what we're looking at is not just an imbalance in our brain. All right, has anyone ever done the 23andMe, like genetic testing type of thing? Or like, have you seen ads for like you spit in a cup and like they'll test your microbiome and they're gonna give you the exact diet to eat for you? I love it, it's just the research isn't there yet. So like, yeah, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But the fact that research is trying to get there means something. So the gut-brain axis is what we're going to talk about. And really what that means is you got two best friends that are constantly texting each other all day long. I just sneezed, I just ate this, look at the picture of my dog, okay? Like something like that. But sometimes messages get confused and you're in a dead zone, it doesn't go through all the way. So your gut is constantly communicating with your brain, and your brain is constantly telling things about your gut. Have you ever not done something just because it didn't feel right? You had no other explanation other than it gave you like a stomach ache. That's your emotions working, that's your gut talking to your brain. And you're probably right for not doing that thing. All right, so what we're looking at now is, are the foods we're eating changing our mental health, whether it's in a good way or a bad way? But not only that, are they going to be able to provide some support? And say you have a mood disorder, say you have anxiety or depression or ADD, ADHD, something like that. Can the food diminish the effects or even lower the dosage of the medicine that you are prescribed?
First is what you do. If I asked everybody, if I gave everybody a piece of paper and I said, just write down what you do, we would I'm not sure how many people are here, but we would probably have comments on different aspects of your lives. Many people would say, well, you know, I'm a police officer, or I'm a dietitian, or, you know, I'm a teacher. You might say something completely different. You know, I do metal work. I'm an artist. I do hiking. Second one is where you do it. Once again, everybody's going to have their own definition. And the third is, who are you? And the way I think about that question is, there are two parts to this in my mind. One is who we are, meaning defining ourselves, and who do we think we are? And what I'm really talking about is, who are we psychologically? And it's real hard to judge that, because the judgment is coming from within ourselves. The judgment is coming from a part of the personality that Freud called the ego. And the word ego is a very overused word. And I also teach at Fordham University Graduate School of Social Service in the clinical master's program. And I always start out very, very basic, and immediately PO a lot of my students who are all pumped up about, now we're in graduate school and don't tell me something I already know. But once we get into it, part of my job is to help them realize how much they don't know. So the ego is not a real thing. It's a concept. But it helps us to understand who we are and how we operate out in the real world. There are three parts to the personality. There's the ego, which is, you know, we could talk about as the adult person, your adult personality working out in the real world. Another way of saying it is the way you present yourself in situations. That's your ego. You're projecting, we are projecting. I'm projecting to you right now what I want you to, who I want you to think I am, what you want me to think I am, and even maybe wonder what I'm doing here. The other parts are the superego, which modern language is the parent within us. The superego tells us, you know, it's 30 miles an hour here, and I'm going 45, and I think I see red lights blinking behind me. So the first thing I do is I start slowing down. The superego tells us what the rules are, what our values are, what we believe in. It also is challenged by this other little part that we have, which Freud called the ID, which is another way of saying the child within us. Most of us experience it as adults as the adolescent within us. And there's this constant back and forth between that kid within us and that parent within us. And they will battle at times while the ego just keeps moving forward and hoping that people don't see what I'm worried that they're going to see. Part of who we are, like I said, is who we think we are.